Ayan was a simple man. He was 32 years old, and his life was not easy. Every morning he woke up before the sun, boiled water for tea, ironed school uniform, and packed a small lunchbox. His daughter, Hina, was only 6 years old, but she was the light of his life. They lived alone in a tiny rented apartment with one bedroom, one small kitchen, and a window that did not open fully. But to Ayan, that room was a home because his daughter lived there with him. Ayan worked 2 jobs. In the morning, he cleaned tables in a small restaurant. In the evening, he worked in a mechanic workshop repairing bikes. He was always tired, his hands always rough, but he never complained. When he looked at his daughter's smile, he felt everything was worth it. Hina was a cheerful child. She loved drawing flowers and stars. Sometimes she would draw her family, herself and her father. She always drew an empty space next to them. She would ask, "Papa, where is Mama in this picture?" And Ayan would smile softly and say, "Mama watches us from the stars." "My dear." Hina did not understand fully, but she nodded and hugged him. Ayan had learned long ago that life does not wait for sadness to end. He had to stand up and move every day. He loved his daughter enough to fight the whole world. One morning was just like the others. The sky was clear and cool. The wind was gentle. Ayan held Hina's hand and walked to the bus stop. They always stood in the same place, near a small tea stall. People in the neighborhood knew them. Some smiled at Ayan because they respected his strength. At the bus stop, several children from nearby houses waited for their school bus. Some kids laughed, some argued, some played with their school bags. Life looked normal and calm. Ayan lifted Hina's bag for her. "Papa, today is my drawing day," Hina said happily. "Oh, then make your best drawing. I want to see it first," Ayan replied with a gentle smile.
Promise.
"Promise." They both laughed softly. Across the road, another school bus was approaching. It was bright yellow, with children waving from the windows. The bus stopped, and the driver stepped down to adjust something near the front. The children inside continued laughing and talking. Everything was normal. Everything was peaceful. Until suddenly, there was a strange sound. Smoke began to rise from under the bus. First, just a little. Then very quickly, thick dark smoke began to pour out. The driver panicked and started shouting. The children inside stopped laughing. Some began to cry. People standing near the area looked shocked. No one moved. It all happened so fast. The smoke turned into flames. The fire spread to the front of the bus. Fast, too fast. Children inside screamed. Some tried to get up. Some pounded on the windows. The bus doors were jammed. The driver tried to open them, but the fire grew stronger. Ayan's heart began to race. He could hear children crying. One little voice was louder than the rest. A thin, high-pitched cry, "Help! Please, somebody help me." Ayan looked around. People were just staring. No one was moving. Some were recording videos on their phones. Ayan's breathing became heavy. His eyes widened. That cry, it felt like Hina was calling. He imagined his daughter inside that fire. He imagined her small hands pressing against the burning glass. His whole body shook. He looked at Hina. She was holding his sleeve tightly, her eyes full of fear. But she did not speak. Ayan knelt down and placed his hands gently on her shoulders. "Hina, stay here. Do not move." His voice was calm, but his eyes were determined. Hina was scared, but she trusted him. She nodded slowly. Ayan stood up and ran. He ran straight towards the burning bus. People shouted, "No! Stop!" But Ayan did not hear them. The fire was bright. The heat was sharp. But inside the bus, a small girl was pressed against a window, crying, her face red with fear. Smoke filled the air. Ayan could not breathe well. His eyes watered, but he pushed himself closer. He grabbed a stone from the ground and hit the window glass. Thud! Thud crash. The glass shattered. The flames roared louder. Ayan reached inside and grabbed the girl by her arms. She was shaking, coughing, crying. He pulled her out with all his strength. His skin burned. His clothes smoked. His breath broke, but he did not stop. He lifted the girl into his arms and stepped back from the fire. People rushed to help now. They brought water. They shouted. Someone called an ambulance. The little girl held Ayan's shirt tightly. Her voice was weak and trembling. She whispered, "Please, don't leave me. Mama needs me." Ian looked at her with soft, tired eyes. He had no idea that saving this girl would change his entire life. He did not know that her mother was a woman who controlled the entire city. The little girl's fingers were still tightly curled around Ayan's shirt. Her tiny hands trembled, her eyes were red from crying, and her breathing was weak and uneven. Ayan held her carefully, as if she were his own daughter. He could still feel the burning heat on his skin. His arm was slightly scorched, and there were small cuts from the broken glass. But he did not care. The girl in his arms mattered more than any pain. People around them began to speak all at once. Someone called the ambulance. "Oh God, the bus is completely burning. That man saved her. Is he crazy or brave?" But Ayan did not hear all of it clearly. His head felt heavy, and the smoke still filled his lungs. He was coughing, breathing fast and hard. Yet he kept standing because the girl had not let go of him. Hina came running to him. "Papa, Papa!" she cried, tears shining in her eyes. Ayan looked at her and forced a small, tired smile. I'm okay, Hina." Hina gently touched his burned arm. She did not know what to say. She just stayed close. Soon an ambulance arrived. The medical workers rushed to Ayan and the rescued girl. They carefully checked them both. "She needs oxygen," one of the paramedics said, placing a small oxygen mask on the girl's face. Another paramedic looked at Ayan's burns and said softly, "You should lie down too." But Ayan shook his head. "No, take care of her first." "I'm fine." His voice was tired but steady. The girl's eyes were still open. She looked up at Ayan and whispered in a weak, shaky voice, "My name is Maria." Ayan nodded softly. "Maria, you are safe now." Maria tried to speak again, but her voice disappeared into a small cough. They were both placed into the ambulance. Hina sat next to her father, holding his uninjured hand tightly, afraid to lose him. Maria lay on a stretcher beside them, still holding onto the edge of Ayan's shirt. The ambulance doors closed, and the siren screamed as it drove fast toward the hospital. At the hospital, nurses rushed to help. They took Maria into an emergency room. Ayan followed her, refusing to leave. The doctors cleaned his burns and bandaged his hand, but he did not ask for painkillers. His eyes kept searching for the small girl he had saved. Once Maria was stable and breathing normally, she was moved to a children's ward. The room was quiet and warm. There was a small teddy bear on the side table and a soft blanket around her. Ayan sat on a chair beside her bed. Hina sat on his lap, leaning against him. Time passed slowly. Minutes became hours. Maria opened her eyes again and looked at Ayan. "Are you still here?" she asked very softly. "Yes," Ayan replied, his voice gentle. "I am here. Everyone always leaves," she whispered, looking away. Ayan's heart felt a sudden ache. "What do you mean?" he asked. Maria looked down at her hands. "My mama is always gone. She works all the time. She is important. People say she is powerful." Her voice trembled with something that was not fear, something like loneliness. Ayan listened quietly. He did not judge. He simply stayed. Hina climbed off Ayan's lap and gently placed her small hand on Maria's hand. "It's okay. Papa stays with me too when I'm scared," Hina said softly. Maria looked at Hina, surprised, and then smiled faintly for the first time. In that moment, something changed. The three of them looked like a small family sitting together in peace. Outside the hospital room, something else was happening, something that would soon change everything. The news of the burning bus incident spread very fast. People saw the video online, a man running into fire to save a child. Social media posts were filled with his picture. The headline was everywhere. "Unknown single father saves girl from burning bus." Reporters started gathering outside the hospital. Police officers arrived to manage the crowd. Everyone wanted to know who the girl was and where her family was, but no one had come yet. Hours passed. Evening turned into night. Still, no parent, no relative. A nurse finally asked Ayan, "Do you know where her family is?" Ayan shook his head slowly. "No, but I think she needs someone right now." So he stayed. Hina slept, resting her head on Ayan's shoulder. Ayan sat awake, watching Maria breathe peacefully. He did not know why, but he felt protective, as if fate had connected them. And then, around midnight, the sound of engines echoed outside the hospital. Not one car, not two, but many. Large, shining, black luxury cars stopped in front of the hospital entrance. Men in dark suits came out, tall, silent, strong-looking. They did not look like normal security. They looked like bodyguards. Nurses began whispering. Doctors stopped what they were doing. Even the security guards of the hospital stepped back. The air felt different. From the car, a woman stepped out, a tall woman, dressed in a perfectly cut black coat, her hair tied neatly, her eyes sharp, her presence strong enough to make the entire hallway silent. This was a woman who did not just enter buildings. She entered with power. Someone whispered, "She's here." Maria's mother, Mrs. Zara Rahman, the woman who controlled half the city, she was finally here. The hospital corridor fell completely silent when she stepped inside. Mrs. Zara Rahman walked with slow, controlled steps, the sound of her heels echoing sharply against the floor. She did not look left or right. Her expression was calm, but her eyes were intense, like a storm hidden behind glass. Doctors and nurses moved out of her way without a word. Everyone in the city knew who she was. Her company owned malls, factories, hotels, land, and more. People feared her power, respected her influence, and avoided her anger. But at this moment, she did not look powerful. She looked like a mother who was searching for her child. She stopped outside Maria's hospital room. Her hand hesitated for one small second on the door handle. Then she pushed it open. Inside, Ayan sat beside Maria's bed. His arm was bandaged. His eyes were tired. Hina slept leaning against him. Maria opened her eyes and saw her mother. "Mama," she whispered in a weak, soft voice. Zara's face softened instantly. She rushed forward and knelt beside the bed, pulling Maria into her arms gently. "My baby, I am here. I am here." Her voice cracked, something no one had seen before. Maria held her mother tightly, but her small hand still reached out and touched the side of Ayan's sleeve. She was not ready to let go of him. Zara noticed. She slowly looked up at Ayan. For a few seconds, they simply stared at each other. Zara's eyes were sharp, strong enough to break someone's confidence easily. But Ayan did not look away. He had nothing to fear. The room was quiet. Only the sound of the heart monitor beeped softly. Finally, Zara spoke. "You saved my daughter." Her voice was low, controlled. She was trying not to show emotion. Ayan nodded once. "She was in danger. I just did what anyone would do." Zara shook her head slowly. "No, not anyone." Her eyes glanced toward the burns on his arm. "Many people were there. Only you moved." Ayan looked down. "I saw a child calling for help. I did not think. I just went." Zara studied him carefully. The man in front of her did not look rich, important, or powerful. His clothes were simple. His hands were rough. But his eyes were steady and sincere. She stood up slowly. "What is your name?" "Ayan," he replied. "And the little one?" she asked, looking at Hina, who was still sleeping beside him. "My daughter, Hina." Zara looked at Hina with a strange expression, almost respect. Perhaps she understood what it meant to raise a child alone. She turned back to Ayan. "Tell me," she said quietly, "what do you want in return?" The room froze. Ayan blinked, confused. "In return?" Zara nodded. "Yes, I owe you my daughter's life. Money, house, job, business share. Name it." Ayan's eyebrows drew together. He looked at Maria, still holding his sleeve. Then he looked at Hina, sleeping, safe and warm, and he answered simply, "I don't want anything. I didn't save her for a reward." Zara's expression changed slowly. For the first time in many years, someone had spoken to her without expectation, without fear, without need. She didn't know how to respond. People usually begged her for things. People tried to impress her. People pretended to respect her, to gain something from her. But this man, this ordinary man, had done something no one else had. He acted with heart, not with motive. Zara took a slow breath. "I see," she said quietly, but there was something else in her eyes now, something complicated. Before leaving, she said softly, "My daughter, she does not trust easily, yet she held your hand. That means something." Ajan's gaze followed Maria's tiny fingers, still holding the corner of his shirt. He answered gently, "She was scared. I just stayed." Zara looked at him one last time, then she walked out of the room, but the silence she left behind was heavy, deep, and full of meaning. Outside the hospital, her security team stood waiting. A man in a suit opened the car door for her. "Madam, shall we proceed to the press conference?" he asked. Zara paused. She looked back at the hospital window where a faint, warm light glowed. "No," she said calmly. "Cancel everything." The man was shocked. "Yes, madam." Zara got into the car, but her thoughts remained behind. "With Ayan, inside the hospital," Maria whispered softly, almost as if speaking only to herself. "He stayed, when no one else ever does." And Ayan simply sat silently beside her, unaware that his life, his simple life, was about to be changed forever. The next morning, sunlight filtered softly through the hospital curtains. The room felt calm. Maria was awake now, sitting up with a pillow behind her back. She looked healthier, though still a little weak. Ayan was sitting in the same chair beside her, and Hina was coloring something on a piece of paper. She had drawn 3 figures, Ayan, Hina, and Maria holding hands. Maria looked at the drawing and smiled a little. "You drew me too?" Maria asked quietly. "Yes," Hina replied warmly. "We are friends now." Maria's small smile grew a bit wider. For children, friendship did not require explanations. Just kindness and presence. A nurse entered with a tray of breakfast. "Good morning, how's everyone doing?" she asked with a gentle smile. Hina happily said, "We are fine." Maria nodded shyly. Ayan gave a tired but warm smile back. The nurse looked at Ayan and said softly, "Your burns need more treatment. After lunch, come to the dressing room." Ayan nodded. To him, his pain did not matter. He was just thankful Maria had survived. But downstairs, the hospital entrance was filled with reporters. Camera flashes went off. News vans stood outside. The city had been talking about one name since yesterday, the single father who saved a child. His pictures were everywhere. People were calling him a hero, but Ayan had no idea about any of this. At around noon, the door of the hospital room opened again. It was Zara. But this time, she did not walk in like the ruler of the city. Her steps were slower. Her face was softer. There were faint dark circles under her eyes. Perhaps she had not slept at all. Maria looked up, her eyes bright. "Mama!" Zara moved quickly to her daughter and kissed her forehead. "How are you feeling today, love?" she asked gently. Maria pointed at Hina and Ayan. "They stayed with me." Zara looked at them. Ayan stood up respectfully. Hina waved happily. Zara's gaze softened. She sat down beside Maria and held her hand. For a moment, they were just a mother and child, not powerful, not famous, just 2 people who needed each other. After a few minutes, Maria fell asleep again. Tired, the room grew quiet. Zara finally spoke. "You did not leave her, even after I came." Ayan looked at Maria and replied, "She needed someone. I could not walk away." Zara slowly exhaled. "I do not know when I last saw someone stay without asking for something in return," she said quietly. Her voice was calm, but there was pain hidden in it. The kind of pain that comes from years of loneliness. Ayan did not interrupt. He simply listened. Zara looked at her daughter and said, "Maria's father died when she was very small. I raised her alone. I had to become strong, too strong." Her eyes were distant, remembering something heavy. "I had to protect my business, my daughter, my name. But in doing that, I may have forgotten to protect her heart." She paused, then looked directly at Ayan. "Yesterday, when you saved her, she held your hand. She trusts you. That means everything to me." Ayan lowered his eyes. "I am glad she is safe. That is all." Zara watched him carefully. She was a woman who could read lies easily. She could detect selfishness instantly. But here, she found nothing but sincerity. Suddenly, the calm moment was interrupted. There was noise outside. Footsteps, raised voices. A man in a suit, Zara's head of security, knocked and entered. "Madam, apologies. The press is insisting on a statement. They want to know who saved the girl. They want to speak to him." He glanced at Ayan. Zara's expression hardened instantly. The strong version of her returned. "No," she said firmly. "No cameras. No interviews. No spotlight. He is not to be disturbed." The security man nodded quickly and left. The room fell quiet again. Ayan looked slightly confused. "You didn't want me to be known as the one who saved her?" Zara shook her head. "Listen to me," she said gently but seriously. "This city praises you today, but tomorrow they will attack you, judge you, use you. Fame is not kindness. Attention is not respect." Ayan understood. He had seen how the world treated people when the applause ended. Zara continued, "I don't want what you did to become entertainment. It was not a show. It was pure. I want to protect that." Ayan met her eyes, and for the first time truly saw the woman behind the power. Not a cold leader, not a rich businesswoman, a mother, and something changed between them. Not love, not friendship, just understanding, a silent respect. Before leaving, Zara looked at him again and said softly, "Come to my home for dinner tomorrow. You and Hina. I want Maria to be surrounded by people who make her feel safe." Ayan was surprised. He hesitated. Zara smiled, a small smile but real. "This is not charity," she added. "This is gratitude, and maybe something my daughter needs." Ayan slowly nodded. "All right, we will come." Zara gave a calm, warm look, the kind she probably had not given anyone in years. Then she walked out. Hina tugged on Ayan's sleeve. "Papa, are we going to a big house?" Ayan smiled softly. "Yes, we are." He did not know it yet, but walking into Zara Rahman's world would change the course of his entire life. The next evening came quietly. The sky was soft orange, and the air felt calm. Ayan stood in front of the mirror in his small apartment, adjusting the collar of his clean but old shirt. Hina was excited, twirling in her small dress. "Papa, do I look nice?" she asked, smiling brightly. Ayan nodded with pride. "You look like a star." Hina giggled and held his hand tightly. They walked outside, and a black car was already waiting near their building. The driver stepped out and opened the door politely. "Mr. Ayan, Ms. Hina, please. Madam is expecting you." Hina's eyes widened. She had never seen such a big car before. The seats were soft, and the car smelled like flowers. Ayan sat quietly, not speaking much. He was nervous but calm. As the car drove through the city, Hina looked out the window and whispered, "Papa, her house must be very big." Ayan only smiled, but nothing could have prepared him for what he saw next. They arrived in front of a huge mansion, with tall gates, beautiful gardens, and shining lights. The house looked like something from a movie. Flowers were planted everywhere. Fountains were flowing. The place felt calm but powerful. Inside, the floors were smooth like glass. Chandeliers hung from the ceiling like stars. Servants bowed respectfully as Ayan and Hina entered. But the real surprise was the atmosphere. There was no show-off, no loud music. No big crowd, just warm, soft light, and then Maria came running down the stairs. "Hina!" she shouted happily. Hina smiled and ran to her. The two girls hugged like close sisters. Their joy filled the entire room. Ayan watched them, and for a moment, he forgot about the difference between rich and poor, because children don't care about status. They only care about hearts. Zara appeared behind Maria. She was wearing a simple white dress, not expensive jewelry like before. Her face looked calm, softer than before. "Welcome," she said gently. Ayan nodded respectfully. "Thank you for inviting us." Zara smiled, a real warm smile. "Thank you for coming." They walked to the dining hall. The table was long and beautiful, but only 4 places were set, one for each of them. No servant stood inside. No one hovered around. It felt like a family dinner, something Zara maybe hadn't experienced in a long time. The food was simple. Warm bread, rice, chicken curry, fresh salad, not expensive dishes. Not showy, it was home-cooked. Zara said softly, I asked the chef to make something children like. Maria and Hina began eating happily. Giggling softly, Ayan looked around the room and spoke carefully. Your house. It is very beautiful. Zara's eyes lowered slightly. Thank you, but even a big house can feel empty. She said it like a truth she lived every day. Ayan understood without asking anything. After dinner, the children played in the garden, chasing butterflies and running through the grass. Their laughter echoed in the quiet night. Ayan and Zara sat outside on a stone bench watching them. Zara spoke first. Do you know why Maria held your hand in the hospital? Ayan looked thoughtful. She was scared. Zara shook her head gently. No, she trusted you. Her voice softened as she explained, Maria does not trust easily. People around her always want something from us. Money, support, connections. Even her teachers are careful with her, not kind. She has grown up surrounded by caution, not comfort. Ayan listened quietly. Zara continued. When she cried inside that burning bus, she told me later. She was calling for someone, but not me. She didn't expect me to come. Because I am always gone, working, protecting, running the city. Her voice trembled just a little. And then, she saw you. Ayan took a breath. He understood. Zara's next words were slow and honest. She saw a father. A real one. Someone who runs toward danger, not away. Ayan looked at the grass beneath his feet. I only did what I would do for my daughter. Zara smiled softly. And that is what makes you rare. At that same time, shadows moved near the mansion gates. Neighbors, business rivals, reporters, people who always talked. Rumors had already started in the city. Why is the most powerful woman hosting a poor single father? Is she trying to adopt him? Is something going on between them? People loved to twist stories they didn't understand. Zara knew this, but she didn't care. Still, she looked at Ayan seriously. People will talk. They will judge. Are you ready for that? Ayan looked at Hina playing and smiling in the garden. Then he looked at Maria's small, happy laughter, and he answered softly, but with strong heart. As long as it does not hurt the children, I do not care what people say. Zara's eyes warmed deeply. For a moment, there was no power difference between them. Just two parents. Who had fought life, who had defended love, who had learned to stand alone, sitting side by side. Before leaving, Maria hugged Ayan tightly. Will you come again? She asked. Ayan smiled and put his hand gently on her head. Yes, I will come. And when he spoke those words, he didn't realize that his life had already changed. Forever. Days passed quietly after the dinner. Ayan and Hina returned to their normal routine, school, work, homework, and small household joys. But something inside their home felt different now, lighter, happier. Every evening Maria would call Hina. They would talk about school, cartoons, games, and dreams. Sometimes Zara joined the calls too, asking Ayan about his day. Their conversations were simple, but they felt real. But peace never lasts long when truth is still hidden. Because there was one question. How did the bus catch fire that day? And why was Maria even on that bus? The city still didn't know, but Zara knew. And she was finally ready to tell Ayan. One afternoon, Zara came to Ayan's workshop. She was not wearing her expensive suits, just a simple shawl and flat sandals. People around stared in shock. The most powerful woman of the city, in a place like this? She didn't care. Ayan stood up immediately. Is everything okay? Zara took a slow breath. Ayan, we need to talk. They sat in a quiet corner. Outside, workers whispered but didn't disturb. Zara began softly. Maria was on that bus because she ran away from school. She ran away because she did not want to live the life I was forcing on her. Meetings, training, expectations, perfection. Her voice trembled. She just wanted to be a child. Ayan listened quietly. Zara continued. The bus did not catch fire by accident. Someone did it on purpose. Ayan's eyes hardened. Why? Zara looked up, and for the first time, he saw fear in her eyes. Because of me. Someone wanted to hurt me. And they targeted Maria. Ayan leaned forward. Who? Zara closed her eyes, holding back pain. My late husband's business partners. They wanted control of the company after he died, but I refused. I took over instead. And many people did not like that a woman was in charge. Ayan finally understood everything. Maria was not just a child saved from a burning bus. She was a child being hunted. Ayan spoke slowly. So, from now on, Maria needs protection? Zara nodded. And not just guards. Real protection. People who care. She looked directly into Ayan's eyes. Ayan, I want you to become a part of Maria's life. Not just visiting, not just friendly, but truly in the family. Not as a servant, not as an employee, but as someone who stands beside us, equal. Ayan froze. The offer was huge, powerful, life-changing, but also dangerous. He looked at Hina, who was happily drawing nearby. She had no idea of the storm around her. He spoke softly. My daughter's safety is my first responsibility. Zara smiled gently. That is exactly why I need you, because she knew. Powerful men protect wealth, but fathers protect hearts. Before Ayan could respond, a loud shout came from outside. Fire! Fire in the car shed! People ran. Smoke rose. Heat spread fast. Zara's car was burning. Someone had set it on fire. Again, this was a warning. Ayan instantly acted. He grabbed Hina in his arms and ran outside. Zara grabbed Maria, who had just arrived with her tutor. Flames rose higher. Neighbors shouted. Workers tried to put water, but the fire grew. But the target was clear. Not the cars, not the building, the children. Someone wanted them scared. Ayan shielded both girls with his arms and shouted, Get back! Get inside! But the moment was enough. Zara saw it, the way Ayan wrapped both girls in his arms, as if they were both his own daughters. That was the moment her heart made its decision. Later that evening, when the fire was controlled and police had arrived, Zara stood quietly beside Ayan. She didn't speak for a long time. Then softly, I don't want to raise my daughter in fear. I don't want her to grow up alone like I did. I want her to have a family. I want us to be that family. Ayan looked at her. Family is not made by money or power, he said. Zara smiled. I know. Family is made by love and courage. She looked at Hina and Maria, sitting together, holding hands. They already chose each other, she whispered. Ayan's voice was calm. Strong. Then we will protect them. Together, Zara breathed out, relieved, filled with hope for the first time in years, not as a rich woman, not as a powerful owner, but as a mother, and from that day on, Ayan, Hina, Maria, and Zara began to build something new. Not perfect, not easy, but real. A home built not on wealth, but on kindness, compassion, and second chances. The city talked. People whispered, but the children laughed louder, and in the end, their laughter was all that mattered. The end.